Right here, we are going to finish correcting the study guide. I had made a mistake explaining number 6, so we're just going to start here. This is number 6. Turning off the water while brushing your teeth saves 379 centiliters of water. How many liters of water can you save if you turn off the water the next 3 times you brush? So 1 time is 379. So we're going to do that for 3 times, so I multiplied here. So I'm going to start with this amount, 1,137 centiliters. So I multiplied my centiliters by 3. So I start with my centiliters. Then I need to put how many centiliters in a liter. So I need to change it to liters. There's 100 centiliters in a liter. You're going to see that on your chart. You're going to multiply across the top and divide by the numbers on the bottom. So we're going to be taking 1,137 and dividing it by 100, which will move our decimal 2 spots to make 11.37 liters. 11 and 37 hundredths of a liter. Okay, here we go. Convert to the given unit. So we're going from millimeters. That's what we're starting with, 34.2 millimeters over 1. And we are taking the conversion factor. Millimeters goes on the bottom. There's 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter, and that's what we're going to end up with. So here we're dividing by 10, so it makes our number smaller by 1 decimal spot. It should be 3 and 42 hundredths of centimeters. Okay, here we start with 42 inches. That's what they give us, so that goes first. Next, we're going to change inches, so it has to be on a diagonal. Inches to feet. 12 inches in a foot, so it'll be 42 divided by 12 is 3.5 feet, because these inches are just going to cancel out. All right, here we start with 1.4 kilometers over 1. That's what they give us. Then we're going to see how many kilometers in a hectometer. And so we have 10 hectometers in 1 kilometer. This one's a smaller unit, so there's 10 of them in 1 kilometer. So here we're just going to multiply by 10, and when you multiply by 10, you move your decimal 1 spot to the right to make it bigger because there's a 1 0 there, so 1 spot. And it'll be 14 hectometers. Okay, next we start with 4 gallons. Put that over 1. We're changing gallons to quarts. See quarts here? To quarts. So we have to see how many quarts are in a gallon. If we look at our graph here, remember we fit 4 quarts. Those are our 4 quarts in 1 gallon. So 4 quarts in a gallon. 4 times 4 is 16. These gallons cancel out and you're left with 16 quarts. All right, starting with 53 deciliters. That's the smaller one. It's small d there, or DA. Let me just check and make sure I'm saying this right. Yeah, DA is going to be our large D. So we are changing it to the DA. This is our large D. The larger one, this is the smaller one. So we start with 53 deciliters. With a small, deci with an I, deciliters. 53 deciliters. And so we're going to change deciliters to decaliters. So that's going to be the larger measurement. There's 100 deciliters. And let me show you how to figure that out real quick. So every time we go 1 spot this way, this is timesing it by 10. So there's going to be 10, 100 of these little deciliters in a deciliter, because you go 2 zeros, 2 spots. So we're dividing by 100, so that will be moving our decimal 2 spot, making that smaller. 53 hundredths deciliter equals 53 deciliters. All right, that one's a little tough because all those D's. All right, so we start here with 28 cups, and we put that over 1. We're going to multiply times our conversion factor, cups on the bottom, and we're changing it into pints, so pints on the top. There's 2 cups in a pint. 28 divided by 2 is 14. Then we cancel out the cups. All right, number 13, Trenton's laptop is 32 centimeters wide. What's the width of the laptop in decimeters? So decimeters and centimeters are right next to each other. Remember, it goes millimeters, centimeters, decimeters. So there's 10 centimeters in a decimeter. And that's our conversion here. So you write what you know, write your conversion, cancel out the centimeters. 32 divided by 10. When you divide by 10, you move your decimal one spot, so it'll be 3.2 decimeters. A truck is carrying 8 cars weighing an average of 4,500 pounds each. What's the total weight in tons of the cars on the truck? So we start out with the 8 cars at 4,500 pounds each. So I multiplied to get 36,000 pounds. That's what we know to begin with. Then we are taking our pounds and changing it to tons. There's 2,000 pounds and 1 ton. So we're going to be dividing this by 2,000. If you wanted to put that on a calculator, you could, or you might just know that 36 divided by 2 is 18, and the zeros all cancel out. So we get 18 tons. All right, Ben's living room is a rectangle measuring 10 yards by 168 inches. How many feet does the length of the room exceed the width? Okay, so we're going to start by changing our yards here, our 10 yards to feet. We're going to change them both to feet. We need to know how many feet because that's what it wants in our answer. So we're going to change the 10 yards to feet. So here we have 10 yards is what we start with. We're changing yards to feet. There's 3 feet in a yard. So 10 times 3 is 30. So the length is 30 feet. Now we're going to take these inches that we know for the width. We take our inches, write down what you know. We're changing inches to feet. There's 12 inches in 1 foot. So you're going to take 168. 12 is on the bottom. So you divide by 12 and you'll get 14 feet. So we have 30 by 14 feet. And they are asking how many feet does the length of the room exceed the width? So we start with 30, we subtract the width, which is 14, and you will get 16 feet. So you have to know what exceed the width means, which means how much longer is it? Okay, Jessie served 13 pints of orange juice at her party. How many quarts of orange juice did she serve? We start with 13 pints. Change pints to quarts. There's 2 pints in a quart, so we divide by 2. So 13 divided by 2 gives us 6 remainder 1, so that'll be 6 quarts, but we still have that 1 pint left over. So that's another way, instead of getting a fraction or a decimal, is just to say you have 1 pint left over. Kaylee's cell phone has a mass of 50,000 centigrams. What's the mass of the phone in grams? So we start with 50,000 centigrams times how many centigrams in a gram? There's 100, so we're dividing, because the number's on the bottom, by 100, so moving our decimal 2 spot, and you should end up with 500 grams. So make sure you study for your test, okay? I'm going to give you a day to do that tomorrow. Make sure you study, and we will be taking our test when we're back together again.